Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm here to show you how to work with integers. All right, as we talk about integers, the thing that we want to make sure that we remember is that integers are whole numbers that can be positive or negative. As you get older, you are going to have to be able to represent integers a lot using number lines. And I just want to take a moment and go through that to make sure that we understand. So we have a number line, and 0 is going to really be your point of origin of your number line. You have two sides on your number line. The number line on the right of the 0, these are all what we call positive numbers. And these numbers are represented with a plus sign. So after I draw the 0 in the middle to the right, I would start counting 1, 2, 3, and 4. However, on the left of the number line, these numbers would be negative, represented by, it looks like a subtraction sign, but this is what we use to also represent negative numbers. So as we are creating our number line, to the left of the 0, we would start counting, going in the opposite direction, -1, -2, -3, -4. Number lines can also represent integers in a vertical way. So if we look at this, notice that I'm drawing a number line, but where it was horizontal in this method where we started with, now I'm about to represent my integers on another number line that is now vertical, meaning up and down. So when it's on a vertical number line, it doesn't change as far as 0 being your point of origin, where your numbers kind of start, right? When we go up, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So these numbers on the top of 0 would be considered positive. Underneath the 0, it would be -1, -2, -3, -4, and so on. So the numbers below 0 are going to be negative. So you have to look at the number lines, and it just depends on how the number lines are represented on which in which directions your positive and negative numbers would be. Let's say I wanted to represent the number 2. I could simply draw a dot, label it A, and that dot would, letter A would represent 2. But what if I wanted to represent the opposite? The opposite of 2 is -2. And why is the opposite of 2 -2? Because they are both the same distance away from 0. 1, 2 jumps from 0. 1, 2 jumps from 0. So it's a pair of numbers. If you have a pair of numbers that are the same distance from 0, they are considered opposites. Let's take a look at some examples that you may see on your homework. So with this problem, it says write the number positioned at each point. Number 5, we need to look at letter A. We are going to simply look at the location of the 0 on our number line, and I see that 0 is in the middle. A is located right here, so the next integer would be -1 on the left of the 0. So I know the letter A has to be negative because it falls to the left of 0. What is the number? If I look at this number, doesn't that fall in the middle of that 0 and that -1? So because it's in the middle, that lets me know that it is going to be -1/2. A equals -1/2. Okay, let's look at the letter B. So I'm going to find 0. You always want to start with your point of origin because that lets you know, again, if your number is going to be positive or negative. In this case, because the letter B is on the right side of 0, I know that the number has to be positive because I know that all numbers on the left side of 0 are negative. So let's look in the middle. That would be in the middle of 0 and 1. So that would give you a 1/2. But this letter B is slightly to the right of that. So we got to figure out what that is. An easy way that you can determine, because we know it has to be a fraction, is start at 0 and count. And your question is, how many jumps from 0 does it take you to get to the letter? That's 1, 2, 3. So because it's 3 jumps from 0, that number would be my numerator. But how many jumps does it take me to get from 0 to the next whole number? Well, I know that is 1, 2, 3, 4 units until I get to the next whole number. So 4 is my denominator. So in this case, the letter or the number B represents the fraction 3/4. The last problem in our homework help is asking us to identify the location of letter C. When we are looking at the location of letter C, where do you think we need to start? Hopefully you said 0, because that is exactly right. And since I'm starting at the 0 and C is located to the left, I know that my answer has to be what? Negative. Now, negative what? Look at this. It passed the -1, but it does not pass -2. So this lets me know it's going to be a mixed fraction with -1 being the whole number. Now we got to count and figure out what is the fraction part. So from -1 to C, that is 1, 2, 3 jumps. So 3 becomes my numerator. And if I make one more jump, that gets me to the next integer, which is -2. So the fraction is -1 3/4. Hope this helps.